Hey everybody, this is Todd with Industrial Comfort. The holidays are approaching, so I've got a really cool project for you today. I'm going to take this piece of trash pallet and make it into a lighted Christmas tree that you can put on your front lawn, equipped with this solar lighting setup. Now, the great thing about this project is we're going to do it for less than $5. So these are free. I happen to have this because I shipped something that it came on, but you can go to any retail district near where you live, and chances are there are a bunch of these laying out by the dumpsters. This lighting setup costs about $5. It was actually a 2-pack, so it cost $10, but nonetheless, I'll put a link in the description showing you where to get this. Now, when it comes to the cuts, I'm going to bring this outside to make the cuts necessary to get the tree shape out of this pallet. Now, I'm going to use a circular saw. You can use a hand saw, you can use a Sawzall, use whatever you feel comfortable using and whatever tools you have at your disposal. But I want to give you a few tips. The first of which is be really careful when you're cutting this stuff. If this has been laying on pavement, it might have a bunch of rocks that have been embedded in the wood. And these are generally loaded with little bits of metal and staples and stuff like that. So you want to be careful. So to that end, if you are using a circular saw like I am, you're going to want to make sure that you raise the blade as much as possible. So when I get to this part, the reason I want the blade really high is that I don't want to cut much more than the depth of this cross member, because each one of these is held in by 3 nails on the front, and if there's a cross member in the back, there are 3 more nails, and I have no idea where those nails may have gone in the 2x4 that sits in the middle here. So take this outside. I'm going to make several cuts. I'm going to cut off this bottom cross member right here, so I'm going to just zip it right there. I'm going to make a series of lines to mark my cutting location in the form of a tree, but before I do that, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to cut off all of these cross members here. Now, taking these boards out of a pallet is a pain. So rather than trying to wrestle with these nails, I'm just going to cut them off. And my hope, and I see no issue why we wouldn't be able to reuse these for the stand on the bottom. So let's make the notations on the other side for where we're going to cut. We'll take it outside and we'll get to work. So I'm going to start my cuts at 5 inches in on either side, and then cut right up to the center here. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention before is that pallets come in all sorts of different sizes and shapes. So based on sort of your preference or the size that you get, your tree may end up looking a little different based on where you make the measurements. But this particular pallet is 42 inches, so about 3.5 feet, by a little less than 3 feet at 31 inches. So we'll take this outside and start cutting. Great example of why you want to be careful when you cut this stuff. See this nail that shot through the side here? I'm glad I didn't get any closer with the circular saw, or else I would have hit that. I'm over at the bandsaw now, and I'm just going to nick these corners off on either side of the top here. With these pieces right here in the back that we cut off, I want to reuse these so that we can create a stand for the tree. Now, I mentioned that these are really difficult to get out unless you cut them off, but they actually seem fairly loose. So I'm going to give it a try by hand, and if I can, great. If not, I'll have to use a handsaw. When you have leverage like that, it's a lot easier, but when they're nailed to both sides, that's when it gets really hard. So now I'll just trim off the ends with these nails sticking out. Again, you see I'm wearing gloves. Make sure to wear gloves. I should have mentioned this earlier because you can get a lot of splinters, and there's obviously a lot of rusty metal on this. Okay, I've got two pieces that I've harvested from the back of the pallet. Now, I've checked very carefully for metal. Both of these are clear, so I am going to rip each one of these in half so that we can create the stand. Now, to create the stand, I'm simply going to put these spare pieces of wood in a spiral pattern at the bottom here. Because I don't know when to quit, I'm going to give this thing a light coat with some watered down green paint. I think the paint's sufficiently dry, so we'll start stringing the lights. I'm going to start at the top and we'll work our way down. Okay, the lights are strung. I don't know how well you can see because it's pretty light in here. By far, the hardest part of this project was unraveling these wire lights. But again, super fast project. Great way to spread the holiday cheer for about $5. So if you found this helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.